This is Section 15's Team 4's final lab report for the Advanced Manufacturing module. Throughout this video, we will be discussing what we learned about using the Dobot robots throughout the first 3 labs and how we applied that knowledge to create our final project.
For our first lab, we learned how to use the Dobot and its software, Dobot Vision Studio, how to use point-to-point movement. And we also learned how to use the IR sensor, and using these 2 different functions, we were able to place a block onto a conveyor belt, which we also programmed to run. And when the IR sensor was detected the block, the Dobot would use its suction cup, which was programmed to suction the block and remove it from the IR sensor. We also learned how to use image processing using the Dobot camera in order to recognize different images. In this case, we recognized a QR code. For the second lab, we used some of the basic skills we learned from the first lab and applied it for more complex different commands. So we used the camera function again in order to create an image, and then we used feature match in order for the Dobot to recognize different objects that we would place in front of it. After using match, we also learned how to use the color extract feature in order to extract the color from different color blocks. In our case, we did red. Once we used these, we also used a calibration board in order to calibrate the Dobot. After calibrating it, we used these different features in conjunction in order for the Dobot to recognize the red colored blocks within a group of several different blocks and to pick it up and to move it to a different location. For our third lab, we learned how to have 2 Dobots interact with each other using by sending signals to each other. So we wired a circuit so that an LED is wired that will indicate when a signal is outputted by the first Dobot. So we learned how to program a Dobot to send a signal to that second Dobot. We use this in order to have the first Dobot take a block and place it at a starting position. And once that is done, a signal is then outputted to the second Dobot, which then is used to move the block to an ending position. We also learned how to use the match feature again and how to use the shell module in order to code a way to put different rectangular objects into their matching slots. Use the match feature and the calibration as well as the shell module feature in order to put these together and learn how to use all of these functions in conjunction.
For our final project, we were tasked with working with another team and having 2 robots complete a task where the robots were interdependent. Working together, the teams came up with a project where the first robot would place obstacles of different shapes onto the conveyor belt, then send a signal to the second robot. The second robot would see the incoming objects and move out of the way, either moving left, right, or jumping over the objects. This project was inspired by the game Subway Surfers, but has real-world applications for robots on a factory floor needing to maneuver around objects. Our team mainly focused on the first robot's task. The first step of completing this task was creating calibration files similar to the ones we made in previous labs. We used the fast match function we learned to identify and place the objects onto the belt. Our code utilized the shell module and a random function to place the objects onto the belt randomly, either on the left or right side, but still evenly spaced along the belt. Our first test used different objects, but the robot had trouble identifying them, and we quickly learned they were too large for the other team's robot to dodge. We then moved into our final objects, which included the double block for the other team's robot to jump over. Once the blocks were placed, we used a circuit very similar to Lab 3 to send a signal to the second team's robot to start the conveyor and dodge objects. Overall, this project came with many challenges, but we were able to use the knowledge we learned from previous labs to make a fun project with real-world applications.